Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Monday, the 21st of May. Indian Prime Minister meets a Russian President in Sochi to boost bilateral ties. Four injured in Pakistan firing along border in India's Jammu and Kashmir. And Afghan security forces to double operations against Taliban. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday held an informal summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Russia's coastal city of Sochi to boost bilateral ties. The details of the meeting were not immediately known, but both the leaders were expected to discuss a wide range of global and regional issues.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi met Russian President Vladimir Putin in Russia's coastal city of Sochi on Monday to boost bilateral ties between the two countries. The details of the informal summit were not immediately known, but both the leaders were expected to discuss a wide range of global and regional issues. They were also likely to discuss situation in Afghanistan, threat of terrorism and matters relating to upcoming Shanghai Cooperation Organization and BRICS summit. The Indian Prime Minister earlier held a similar informal summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping in China's Wuhan city last month. More such informal summits between Modi and other world leaders in the coming months are lined up as India eyes to play an important role in global power dynamics.
A policeman and 3 civilians were injured as Pakistani troops resorted to ceasefire violation along the border in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province on Monday. There has been a spate of ceasefire violations along the border by Pakistan this month.
One policeman and 3 civilians were injured in Jammu district of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province as Pakistani forces continued to resort to ceasefire violation along the border on Monday morning. Pakistani troops reportedly fired mortar shells in Arnia sector of Jammu and targeted residential areas, injuring the 3 civilians. The policeman got injured after mortar shells hit a police station. Arnia is the biggest municipal town on the international border with a population of over 20,000 people, and it is within the firing range of Pakistani forces.
Indulging in violence is the worst kind of unholy act that can be indulged in the holy month of Ramzan. But having said that, let me also add over here that as far as India is concerned, a befitting retaliatory action is being carried out. It will be carried out.
The incidents of ceasefire violations have increased in the last few days. One Indian soldier was killed and 2 civilians got injured when Pakistan resorted to similar unprovoked firing near the border post of Arnia sector last week.
Moving on, a protest camp being held by the families of missing Sindhi political activist was attacked by Pakistani security forces on Sunday. Sindhi activists have long blamed Islamabad of carrying out atrocities on innocent Sindhi people. They accuse any attempt to highlight the situation as muzzled.
Pakistani forces on Sunday attacked a protest camp being held by the families of missing Sindhi political activists abducted by the Pakistani military and the Inter-Services Intelligence or ISI. The protesters had been conducting a hunger strike camp in front of the Karachi Press Club. The protest camp was joined by various political parties and human rights organizations including GSN Mutahida Mahaz. The police and rangers circled the camp in afternoon and unleashed baton charge against the protesters. The protesters resisted the action and many of them got injured, and some were also arrested by the security forces.
And very sadly, the camp was attacked by the agencies, police and rangers. The people were beaten. 4 people have been kidnapped by them and they remain missing. And even to the violence was carried to the extent that the clothes of the girls, they were torn. And we strongly condemn this action of barbarity.
Sindhi activists have long accused Pakistan of carrying out atrocities on Sindhi people, as political activists are routinely being targeted in the province. They blame Pakistani forces operate with impunity in Sindh region and any attempt to highlight the situation is muzzled.
In news from Afghanistan, in a bid to counter Taliban's spring offensive, Afghan Defence and Interior Ministries on Sunday said security forces will double their operations to address security threats in Afghanistan. Taliban started its spring offensive last month, which has killed hundreds of people, civilians, so far.
In response to the terror group Taliban's spring offensive, Afghan security forces will increase their operations to address security threats, Afghan Defence and Interior Ministries said on Sunday. The ministries said the Afghan Air Forces or AAF, commandos and special forces will all double their operations against the group to prevent them from achieving their goals. According to Taliban, its ongoing spring offensive is a response to a more aggressive US military strategy adopted last year, which aims to force them into peace talks.
بیشتر نیروهای ما عملیات ها به شکلی صورت میگیره که تهاجمی است و عملیات های بسیار پلان شده و سنجیده شده است.
هر روز عملیات های ما ها را ببیره در جاهایی که تهدیدات متوجه مردم است راه اندازی میکنین و با موفقیت ادامه داره.
Meanwhile, a number of former military officers and senators said the commandos and police special forces are very good at addressing security threats, but good relations with the Afghan forces was a key issue that led them to success. Analysts said security officials should build solid working relations with all forces.
More news from Afghanistan. Afghan government on Sunday rejected a plan proposed by the Independent Election Commission to reduce the number of election consistencies. The government said the legal period to implement such a plan has expired.
Afghan government on Sunday rejected a plan proposed by the Independent Election Commission or IEC to reduce the number of election consistencies, saying the legal period to implement such a plan has expired. The government rejected the plan, arguing that its legal time had expired, while IEC officials said they had dispatched the plan to government a year ago. Meanwhile, Office of Chief Executive Officer or CEO Abdullah has informed the poll body that they may take each province as a single constituency.
وقت مکم دی لدی خاطر څخه حکومت په خپل پیشنهادي نظر کې کمیسیون ته لیکلي چې که هر ولایت یو حوزه سي د پخوا په څیر د ټاکنو پروسه په چټکۍ سره مخ ته ولاړ شي.
Last week, the election observers and political commentators had warned the IEC and the government against decreasing the number of electoral constituencies ahead of the polls in October. They suggested such a move will have negative consequences on the credibility and legitimacy of the upcoming elections in the country.
After breaking the record for the most summits of the Mount Everest, a 48-year-old Nepali mountaineer returned to Kathmandu city on Sunday. The mountaineer has scaled the world's highest mountain 22 times.
A 48-year-old Nepali mountaineer returned to Kathmandu city on Sunday after breaking the record for the most summits of Mount Everest, the world's highest mountain. Kami Rita Sherpa, who completed his 22nd climb on Wednesday last week, was welcomed by family and his community members who presented him with traditional ceremony scarves and auspicious food. Sherpa reached the more than 29,000-foot summit via the Southeast Ridge route, accompanied by 13 other climbers.
अब यो चाहिँ मेरो जिउको अब कन्डिसन हेर्नुपर्छ जिउ कन्डिसन ठीक छ भने म सधैँ रेगुलर दिन्छु हैन अब मेरो जिउको कन्डिसन ठीक भएन भने मैले छोड्नु पनि सक्छु.
Sherpa's latest ascent took him one summit clear of two fellow Sherpas in his community with whom he had shared the earlier record. Ethnic Sherpas, renowned for their endurance and experience at high altitudes, serve as guide for many foreign mountaineers attempting to climb the highest Himalayan peaks.
In a simple yet unique wedding, more than 100 underprivileged couples tied the nuptial knot during a mass marriage ceremony in India's eastern Siliguri city on Sunday. The gesture by the organisers aimed at reducing financial burden on the families of the brides.
As many as 101 couples from across the region of India's eastern Siliguri city tied the nuptial knot on Sunday. The marriages were held according to Hindu rituals amid blushing brides, happy grooms and grooving family members and relatives. The organisers gifted a number of basic commodities, clothing items, sweets and also cash in order to help the couples to begin the new chapter of their lives.
वनवासी समाज में शादी करने के बाद गांव वालों को भोजन कराने की आवश्यकता है, तभी उनके शादी को मान्यता मिलती है। बेचारे साधारण गरीब वनवासियों के लिए वो संभव नहीं है, इसलिए उनके शादी को मान्यता नहीं मिलती है। अब हम लोग इतना बड़ा आयोजन करके उनके गांव के लोगों को, बगान के लोगों को बुलाते हैं और शादी करवाते हैं, एक साथ सब भोज करते हैं, तो उनको फिर मान्यता मिल जाती है।
Guests turned up in huge numbers to bless the beaming couples who dressed up in traditional attire for the occasion. Group marriages are becoming popular, especially among the financially disadvantaged sections of the Indian society, as they reduce worries of monetary implications among parents.
An event held in India's western Pune city honoured the transgender community on Sunday. The community was honoured for their extraordinary contributions in different fields of life. The event aimed at reducing stereotypes formed for the community.
Members of the transgender community were honoured at an award function in India's western Pune city on Sunday for their contributions to different fields of life. The event, organised by an event management company, felicitated then transgender people with an aim to raise awareness about treating the community members as equal in the society. The awardees included transgender politicians, a village head and social workers among others.
उनके लिए बहुत सी चीज़ें, ना उनके लिए वॉशरूम्स है, ना कोई पर्टिकुलर हॉस्पिटल में वार्ड है, ये सब चेंजेस मुझे लाने हैं, ये करने हैं और ये लोग हम लोगों में उठते बैठते हमारे जैसे है, ये दिखाने के लिए हमने ये इवेंट किया है पहले तो, क्योंकि समाज में उनको स्थान मिलना चाहिए.
The event aimed at giving out a message that transgender were capable of doing respectable jobs rather than just being considered suitable for backing, sex work and dancing to earn their living. In a landmark verdict in April 2014, India's Supreme Court of India had granted a legal and official recognition to the transgender as the third gender.
A man in India's western Surat city claims to have invented the smallest iron press and wishes to enter the Guinness Book of World Records through his invention. The brains behind the invention said he made the miniature iron press as his daughter wanted one to iron the clothes of a doll.
A man in Surat city of India's western Gujarat province has claimed to have made world's smallest iron, which weighs only 1.20 grams. The brains behind the invention, Pavan Sharma, a textile agent by profession, made the working model of the iron press after his daughter asked for a press in order to iron the clothes of her dolls. The miniature iron press is of 17 mm length, 9.5 mm width and is 11 mm in height. It has been grabbing eyeballs with visitors coming to see the functioning of the press.
ये प्रेस मेरी वर्किंग मॉडल प्रेस है, जिसको आज मैं गिनीज बुक ऑफ वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड में अपना नाम दर्ज कराने के हिसाब से जा रहा हूँ. वहाँ पे मैंने एप्लीकेशन दी थी गिनीज बुक में, तो 2 महीने बाद में वहाँ से आया मेरे को कि भाई आपका ये एक्सेप्टेड करते हैं हम एप्लीकेशन और आप इसके डिस्प्ले और वीडियोग्राफी एविडेंस हमको भेजिए. तो फिर विश्व की सबसे छोटी आयरन का मेरा गिनीज बुक ऑफ वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड आज हो जाएगा.
Aluminium, tungsten, brass nuts and mobile charger pin have been used in making the iron press, which takes 15 to 30 seconds to heat up. Sharma's achievement is recorded in the India Book of Records and in Unique World Records. The unique piece will be soon registered in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on facebook.com/Asia Newsline and follow us on Twitter @Asia Newsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.